Hello, welcome to Spirituality Simplified. I'm so excited for today's episode. We have a special guest on with us today, Lametra Off. Hello, Lametra. And I want to give a good introduction because she's amazing. Lametra is a life, career, and transition coach for LBO career coaching and consulting. She specializes in maximizing clients' strengths, enabling them to discover purpose, passion, and fulfilling lives and work. She offers personalized coaching, development activities, assessments, including clients' interests, skills, abilities, strengths, values, personality, and goals. She is passionate about cultivating a learning environment for self-discovery, self-efficacy, and awareness to develop new skills. Lametra is a U.S. Army veteran and has a master's in human resources training and development. She's a certified professional coach, a certified transitions dynamics specialist, a certified energy leadership index master practitioner, a certified Myers-Briggs practitioner, a global career development facilitator, and a certified career services provider. She's been featured on several podcasts and has been a guest speaker at many career conferences. Lametra is located in the Dallas, Texas area, but she serves clients all over the country. And her website is L, B as in boy, O, careercoaching.com. And you can connect with Lametra on social media as well. Her handle is at Lametra Off Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. And you can find her by her name and business on LinkedIn as well. So I'm so excited. Lametra is a friend and a colleague and a mentor. We actually met in grad school together, so that was fun. Clicked right away. I knew we were on the same wavelength. Love just connecting with her, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life. She's been a beautiful light. So I'm so excited and I'm honored that you're here with us, Lametra. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And you say that I'm a light in your life. Oh my goodness. I knew that you were part of my tribe, if I had a tribe, if I were
Yeah.
to have a tribe, when I saw your bio in our class. And I'm not even sure what the class was. It seems like it was so long
I
ago.
know it was. I was trying to remember that too. I have no idea. It was probably actually, I have no clue.
I should have looked it up.
I know.
In any regard, I saw that you were a career coach and I thought, ah, yes,
Yeah.
I have to connect with her.
Yes, I'm
And
so
we
glad you
did, and we've
connected.
stayed in contact.
We have. Even when I've moved to Colorado, we've still, had our calls, which has been so uplifting and so nice just to reconnect and be like, okay, like you said, it's like my tribe. So it was like no brainer to have you on the show because you're so awesome. And I mean, yes, your bio, I was like, wow, she is amazing. Like, and just like that piece, of course, but just knowing you personally. I mean, you're such a beautiful person and you're doing so much good for this world and providing such needed services, and you've got some cool things going on, so we'll definitely go into that today. There's a couple things I'm very intrigued about, so I'd love for you to expound upon those. So let's just go ahead and get started. So of course, the obligatory first question: tell us about Lametra. Who is Lametra?
Well, first of all, I like long walks in the park, the beach. I love the mountains also.
Yes.
First of all, I am a daughter, a mother, a wife. As you mentioned, a veteran. I have had many experiences in corporate, in life. I'm a volunteer, and I'm also a coach. But most importantly, I'm a runner.
Yeah.
And I am a lifelong learner, lifelong learner. That's what got me into coaching,
Mm.
learning more about myself. And it has been a wonderful experience and a wonderful adventure. I'm so much grateful for the opportunity to coach all of my clients, either impromptu, informal, or informally. It has been a wonderful experience, and it's a continuous ride with many experiences, groups that I'm affiliated with, and cohorts. All of those things have been wonderful. All of my experiences, all of my challenges, obstacles, and everything I've learned have gotten me to this point. It will continue to help me in my future.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. You make a really good point. I mean, we all are learning, everybody, and the more that you're working with people, you're learning from your clients, you're figuring stuff out about yourself, which helps you guide your clients and helping to figure themselves out too. And that's so
Right.
important, especially right now when so many people are kind of having those thoughts, like wondering, like, what is my purpose? Where am I? What's the whole meaning of life, right?
Right, right. Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, so tell us a little bit for some of our listeners who may not know exactly what a career coach or your career and life coach, transition coach. So, tell us a little bit about that and like why somebody would want to come to you for help.
Oh, good question, Ellie. First of all, let's talk about the different modalities. Some people think that coaching is telling someone what to do. In many cases, I can give you an example. As a volunteer on the careers ministry for my church, I received a call one day to help a young lady she was probably in her 20s, in college still. And her first question was, do you guys have jobs for me? And my explanation is what the careers ministry does was essentially enlighten people about the career process, the career search process, and help them have the tools necessary for them to do excellent or better in interviews and writing resumes and so on and so forth. At that point in time, I didn't describe to her what the career coach was. I was, again, since I worked for the careers ministry, I told her specifically what the careers ministry did or does. As far as coaches, I can compare coaches and what I do to different modalities. First of all, a therapist or a counselor may help individuals get over trauma, the trauma that they had in the past, so that they can function in the present, right?
Right.
And that's the same thing that may go for psychologists or psychiatrists. Then there are mentors. Mentors typically are individuals that provide mentees with advice, stories, examples, or even the corporate culture for the environment, the industry, or the corporate organization in which they work. Because as a mentee, you want to know, how can I get to where that mentor is? That mentor has his or her experience to tell. And that's what the only thing the mentor is probably focused on for the most part. Friends and family, they tell you what they think that you should do. You should be an engineer. You
Oh,
should
of
be a
course, of
doctor
course.
as far as the career, or you should dump him, girl. Dump him.
Yeah.
And that's based on their experiences, right?
Right, right.
Based on their experiences and their opportunities or lack thereof in life.
Right.
As a coach, or coaches are supposed to provide individuals with inspiration, motivation, challenges, examples, all those things and more so that an individual can, in the present, do what they need to do to accomplish goals that are in the future. Coaching is solution focused. It's also future focused. Each session, each meeting, it's getting closer to that person's goal. And that goal could change, but each time it's getting closer to that goal.
Mhm.
And that is the difference between coaching and those modalities. More importantly, Coaches may go in the past for a minute or two
Mhm.
just to get some background.
Right. Yeah.
Coaching, you will not remain there.
Yes.
You will not remain there to talk about, well, let's talk about why that happened. There,
Right.
coaching is ideally, and again, coaching with me is solution focused and is focusing on what do you want?
Hmm.
What's the future? What does the future look like for you? And any number of questions that are related to that.
Right. Yes, that's a great explanation. Because there are different types, like you said. Like there's even like consulting where they like tell you what
Ooh,
to do, right? Like with
that's, thank you
coaching,
for mentioning that.
yeah, yeah, and that has a purpose. But when you're trying to help someone, figure themselves out and explore themselves, you're just like a guide. You're guiding them along. They're doing the work, but you're just kind of giving them prompts and things to think about.
And consulting is something that I'm glad you mentioned because it's different. Consulting is a blend of, could be a blend of all the things I've mentioned. However, consulting is more of telling because the
Hmm.
consultant is probably the subject matter expert. In many cases, as far as individuals that may want a business coach, maybe they really want a consultant.
Hmm.
And that's part of the discovery session for me and for a potential client,
Right.
because in many cases, coaching is still a new industry for the most part.
Hmm.
And many individuals have no idea what coaching is. They think it's similar to therapy. And that's for one thing truly to differentiate. They
Right.
also think it's close to consulting in the fact that, like many people think, tell me what to do.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Tell me what to do.
You're like, it doesn't really work that way. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's so personal that it's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to help you build a business, like something like that. You're talking about your personal life.
Right. And well, who can, who's going to live your life?
Right. Right.
Ellie, who's going to live your life?
I am.
Exactly. It's not going to be Lametra. It's going to be,
Right. Well, I think of coaching as like a long-term relationship. I think that's what I always loved, like
oh my goodness.
consulting. Yeah, like that's like consulting might be for like a couple weeks and then you're done, but like coaching, I mean, you have clients that work with you for like throughout their whole career, at different times.
And that's good. That's great that you mentioned that. In many cases, when some people may say, can you do a resume? I can, but that's not what's on that's not one of my interests.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
And I say that
absolutely.
because I could do it, but it takes a lot more energy to do it for me because it's not one of my interests. More
Yes.
importantly, I'm bringing this up because you said something that's important. Resume writing is transactional.
Hmm.
Coaching is a
Absolutely.
relationship. And you or anyone that picks me as a coach, they're picking me as a coach because they feel a connection to me for whatever reason. It could be the necklace that I have on or the colors that I wear.
Which is beautiful, by the way. I
It
keep
could be
looking at it. It's amazing.
I laugh, or it could be that I made them think, or it could be a combination of all those things.
Hmm.
But it's probably the way I made them feel, right?
Right.
And that being said, I stressed again in the discovery session that coaching is not transactional. It's a relationship that you have with the person. You have to trust the coach,
Hmm.
discuss confidentiality, and those are things individuals need to know. And within that time that we're talking in that discovery period, I also emphasize that you are interviewing me the same way I'm interviewing you. If it's a good fit, it's a good fit. The same way when you're going on a job interview, you're interviewing your potential employer. The
Hmm.
same way they're interviewing you.
Yes,
People forget that.
absolutely. I do that too, even with my spiritual coaching, we have a call too, because it's so important to be aligned. And if we're not, it's not good for the client. It's not good for me. It's just not a good match. And that's okay, because you're not going to be a match for everyone. And, there's always somebody out there that is aligned. So that call is so important. So that's a great point. So what would you say is the number one thing that you hear from clients that they struggle with the most?
Oh, there are several words that I hear from clients and potential clients for that matter. Overwhelm is one word.
Mhm.
Struggle is a
Yeah.
word. And stress. Either some people even have physical stress. They literally say that their back and shoulders are hurting. Change is another word. In some cases, anger is a word that they not necessarily struggle with anger. It's just that something else or some other aspects of their lives they're not satisfied with, which brings me to another word, unfulfilled,
Yes.
lack of purpose, passion, interest.
Mm-hmm.
Not in all things, but typically in the work that they're doing.
Right.
And and if that leads to so many other questions about why we are here.
Right. And so you look at, as a coach, you're looking kind of at the whole person, right? So when they come to you and say, I'm unfulfilled, I'm lacking direction or purpose. So you look at all the different areas of their life to see kind of what's maybe missing or what's out of balance, or how does that work?
Oh, good point. Through several different, we can call them activities, exercises, and I'm not talking about weightlifting, but
Yeah.
but
It might be.
that could be a challenge. You
Right.
never know. It depends on what the goal is, right?
Right.
We talk about all aspects of life: physical, mental, emotional, social, environmental, and somehow I feel like I'm missing one.
Spiritual.
Thank
Yes.
you. That is the one. And we're going to talk more about that in a
We
few minutes.
will. We sure will.
You hit on it.
Yep.
We're a pair.
Yeah.
So those aspects are major influences in how they show up in any part of their lives, in any part of their lives, all six of those. And we touch on those, plus we touch on, most importantly, their goals, right?
Right.
What is their goal? And that being said, the goal that they start off with may not be what they end up with, because things change.
Yes.
More importantly, they learn in 12 sessions, 18 sessions, or 24 sessions and meetings. They learn so much about themselves. There could be so many life changes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I think I mean, that's so good, because it's such a beautiful process. I think everybody should go through this, because it's a great self-discovery. I mean, you really are forced to look at yourself and go inward. And it seems like, oh yeah, I know myself, but like, how many people have really stopped and consciously taken the time and effort to really explore who they are, right? Like, I know for me, like, that was a huge issue with me. I mean, I found myself too, like, at this point where I was so unhappy and so unfulfilled. And, I pursued a therapist and a coach and discovered I didn't really know who I was, right? So if you're
Mhm.
not being your true, authentic self, of course you're not going to be happy, But it was amazing to me. I was like, I can't believe I didn't know this. But at the same time, we're so wrapped up in life and busy work that people like either avoid it or just don't think about it, or just never really had the know at all.
And you bring up a good point. Think about if you were to ask 100 people, who are you? How would they answer that question?
Oh my
They,
god, such a good question.
they would probably, for the most part, many people associate who they are with the work they do
Yes.
or the title that they have mom,
Mhm.
project manager, coach,
Yep.
spiritual guide, or I am a entrepreneur, or I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Based on how they answer that question, you learn a lot about them, right?
Oh, yes.
What do you learn?
Yeah.
First of all, well, Allie, what do you think you would learn when you get the answer to that question?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It's funny. I mentioned this on a recent podcast because I was listening to, I don't know if you know who Alan Watts is, but he's a philosopher, and he was real big back in like the 60s and 70s. And I was listening to one of his lectures, and he asked that same question. He's like, if you're at a dinner party and you're sitting next to someone, you say, "Who are you?" And they might say, "Oh, I'm an accountant," or whatever. And it's funny. It made me think. That question made me pause, and I was like, "Well, who am I?" And I mean, that's a really hard question. I even struggled with that. I was like, I just think that, like, really at the core of it, like, we're all just source, and like I have my light, and I have like my own purpose and mission here. Um but yeah, I mean, I'd be honest, I still struggle. I'm still like trying to figure that question out.
You answered it. You answered it. Thinking about that. Think about this. When you answer that question, you are telling people what you value.
Hmm.
Think
Yeah.
about that
That's
for a minute.
true. Yes, that makes total sense. I mean, my spirituality is everything for me, and that's what has been life changing. So I see myself through that lens now.
And when someone says on the opposite end,
Yep.
when they answer with accountant, what do they value?
Numbers. Just kidding.
Titles,
Yep.
status, what they
Hmm.
think that people in society want to hear in many cases, the title, the status, the
Right.
money that comes with it, the supposed or the implied wealth that comes with the title or status.
Hmm.
In watching period pieces, as far as series or movies, you know that women in the past, they were probably their rank in society was connected to what their husband's rank was in society.
Hmm.
And that's what they started with. I'm the
Right.
Duchess of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And that, again, it's societal. Society says if they're at this rank, then they have this stature, this status.
Hmm.
And that's how we in our first world society believes that we're supposed to answer. By you answering in the fact that in words that are related to your spirituality, someone may look at you and think, huh, they may grab their pearls, yes, but looking at you as if you had two heads, but that's what you value.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah. And speaking your truth, right? It's being
That's being authentically you and not necessarily what people think that you should be.
right. And, it's like there's so much more to people. Like, you've got, okay, so you're an accountant. That's great. But who are you as a person? Like you said,
Exactly.
like, what do you value? What are your interests? Like, what
Who are
what
you
lights
really?
your fire, right? Yeah.
All that,
Yeah.
definitely. And that's
Awesome.
probably what's most important. And when we talk about, and you mentioned spirituality, let's talk about spirituality.
Let's. Would love to.
Spirituality is, and many people, I say is, many people, when you hear the word spirituality, they first think about what? Religion.
Right. Hmm.
It's bigger than that, right?
Absolutely.
Your spirituality is components of you that are your purpose in the world, your vision, and that vision could be as big as you want it to be, as or as simple as you want it to be. It's who you are, your mission statement, if you have one. And there are even some families that have mission statements. That is really the coolest thing ever. But some families have mission statements,
I
or
love
even
that.
couples have mission statements.
Yeah.
That means that they're truly aligned and everything they do is connected to that mission that they created for their family or that coupled them.
Hmm.
Then your when we talk about spirituality, it's related to your values. What are you truly value? One of my, let's call it exercises,
Hmm.
that individuals, achievers, clients, leaders that work with me complete is a value statement.
Hmm.
They learn more about their values that they probably have not even considered what that
Yeah.
word means.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And 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 knowing all these things about yourself, it's not no, it's discovery, but in many cases it's rediscovery because it's things that you know, but you haven't brought to your awareness, your realization.
Mhm.
And when you do, you get to choose if you are living and if you are aligned with who you really are,
Right.
which are, and which these things include your purpose, your mission, whatever that is, and then
Mhm.
more importantly, your values. Your values is something that you can truly check off a list
Yeah.
and know what your top, no, these are my top values.
Hmm.
This, am I truly living the way I want to live? And
Absolutely.
if you're misaligned, then that's why you are having these, that could be one reason that you're having headaches and this, oh, does not, that's right here.
Yes. Yes. I love that you bring up the physical because it's so tied to like when we store all of this stuff, in our energy system, it can manifest into our physical symptoms if it's left untreated. So that's really cool, and it kind of leads me to my next question. So this part I was super intrigued, and I can't wait to hear more about this. And we've talked about this, but I'm really excited for you to share this with the podcast listeners and YouTubers. But tell us about this certification in energy leadership. What did you learn through this? And how do you incorporate this piece into your coaching programs?
Oh,
It's very
let's talk about
fascinating.
energy.
Yes.
Energy. Energy is from everything and anything. Everything has an element of energy in it, right?
Mhm.
If you learn that in, I think it was physics,
I
some
think
science.
so. Don't ask me.
And then you think thinking about that, many times when you say the word energy, what do you think about? Essentially,
Like, oh, go ahead. I thought you were asking me.
I am. Go ahead,
Oh,
Allie.
I think a lot. I mean, I have, of course, a different view on energy now, but I think if like before, you would think of it as like energy to do something, right? Like I have energy to go for a run. Like you feel that like um strength and um like healthy almost. Like that was kind of like the terms that I
Mhm.
thought of at first. And then sometimes you would hear people say, "Oh, I walked into a room and it had a weird vibe," right? Like that was kind of like the basic form or like what I thought of energy at first.
Yes, and typically people think of energy in the physical sense, which is important. We want a strong core because without
Right.
a strong core, you can't be on those slopes, Allie.
Right. So true.
You need the strong core to balance
Hmm.
and to be able to ski appropriately. We all need that, and that's important for our health and our strength and to do those physical things. And when we think about energy, there's also components of intangible components of energy. Energy is the way we show up, which includes our emotions, which includes our thoughts, and then our actions. All those are related to the energy that we live with. And energy could either be anabolic, anabolic, or
Hmm.
catabolic. Now, it's not good or bad, it's just energy. Anabolic energy is life-giving. It's all words that we probably would associate with positive words, but it's words that give you life and make connections easy. For that
Yeah.
example, catabolic is destructive.
Mm.
It's the opposite of anabolic. It's breaking down, and it's associated with stress
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. Ideally, we want to use as much anabolic energy as we have. We want to build on our anabolic energy. We want to increase our anabolic energy in any situation. But the first step is of knowing and being aware of where we remain on a regular basis as far as our energy level.
Yep.
With that, your question was, what do I do as far as with clients to know their energy or to talk about their energy or to even bring it up?
Mm-hmm.
There is an assessment, the Energy Leadership Index. It's one of the first things that we talk about in our first couple of meetings. Once the individual is a client,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the assessments that they complete. And we talk about their basic level of energy, and we talk about how they show up. And is,
Right.
more importantly, is that where they want to show up? There's 7 levels of energy. And again, the base level, the first level of energy is associated with words that people use that I may have mentioned: anger, struggle, overwhelm. Those first 2 levels are full of those words that are associated with stress
Mm.
and destructiveness, if that's a word.
Yeah. Destruction.
It's not life building, it's not building up. Level
Right.
7 is a level that we rarely reside in 24/7. It's a level of enlightenment, the level of being, right? The level of whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Few people are at that level of energy, like I said, 24/7. You may be there for a moment or two, but rarely do we all reside there. Ideally, if everyone lived at level 7, we would be in utopia, probably.
That's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
That would be
If
awesome.
the first goal is to know where you are and know what energy is, and then choose your energy levels when needed, because sometimes you can feel sick or lethargic and you need to lay down.
Mm-hmm.
That's needed.
Yes.
You need to get away from people. You need to throw the pillow over your head and until you're well, until you move into other levels of energy.
Right.
There are times when the lower levels of energy are needed, and as long as you choose to use those levels, as opposed to you're just there because that's what you're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being aware of energy is the first step. As in anything, being aware of who you are is the first step of knowing, is that who I want to be?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. This is such a unique, cool piece that I mean, I've never heard any other coach include this. So like this is and it's so important. I mean, it's part of who we are. I mean, this we have a physical body, but we have an energy body as
Hmm.
well. And it's so interesting as you were talking, so you said 7 levels. I kept thinking like the 7 chakras, right?
Hmm.
And like, the top one, the seventh, is your crown chakra, which is your connection to source, right? And then even your first chakra, which is your root chakra, deals a lot with like stability, safety,
Hmm.
um, feeling grounded and safe and rooted, and all those, and that's where like fears and anxieties and all of those can crop up if it's
Lower
unbalanced.
levels.
Yes. But it's interesting too, because like you said, it's like it's good information. Like even if let's say your root is unbalanced, right? Or you're feeling so more energy at the first level, then it's just information. It's like, okay, I'm here. So why am I feeling this way? Right? Like
Exactly.
what's causing that?
And one thing that we talked about before, you no, not we may have talked about this before, but a few minutes ago you mentioned, a few other coaches mentioned that because few other coaches were trained in the way I was trained.
Yeah.
The program that I went through is called the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And the creator of this certified coaching program used a blend of metaphysical, psychology, adult learning, which again, that's one of my draws because in addition to the Master's in Human Resources Training and Development, my specialty is in adult training and development. There is also components of yoga, meditation, and all elements of a holistic view of life in this coaching program that I completed. And that's why I chose it. It's a holistic view of coaching. It's a holistic view of the person. So it was a perfect fit for me. It's a highly rated program anyway, but it was a perfect fit for me. And I continue to talk about it whenever anyone asks me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
I,
that.
I say that because I've gone through programs with the National Career Development Association, which was great as far as a career is concerned. The certification, the coaching certification program that I went through, it was a broader view of coaching, not necessarily specific to career. It's more specific to life, which was definitely eye-opening and very, very helpful to put the components together. As I mentioned, I'm a lifelong learner, so learning more about coaching was ideal for me.
Yeah.
Lastly, the most important thing about that program was the fact that many other programs or many other coaches that I've met in the past have had literally programs and they're prescriptive. Everyone does not need the same program.
Right.
We're
Absolutely.
all unique people. My approach is that we're all unique people. Well, we know that we're all unique people. Even twins are unique. No one person has the same set of experiences, behaviors, learning, strengths, skills, or even purpose. That said, coaching is not prescriptive.
Right.
It's individualized, it's customized for the individual and that person's goal. If someone has a program, to me, I think I kind of shy away from that because I've seen things on Instagram.
Yeah.
Try my program, do my program. And I
Yeah.
think, okay, that program worked for you. That's why you created it. It worked. You put it out to the masses.
Right.
What worked well for you may not work well for me.
Hmm.
And some people, some people they complete videos and that's their because videos they're really personable, they're really interesting, and they have videos that describe their work and what they do.
Hmm.
It's great. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. Someone else may
Right.
be a great writer. They
Hmm.
should write. Just because
Yes.
this person does videos does not mean that everyone should do a video. So
Yeah.
again, coaching is not prescriptive, it's customized.
Right. And it goes back to your point earlier. Like it's about being aligned. Like somebody who's offering one program may be aligned with you, but somebody else may not be. So
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you for that description. That's so cool. I love that you do that. That's really cool. Um, and it's interesting. I was thinking, like, with the ascension of our new Earth, I'll get a little woo woo here. We're moving up into a new dimension, closer to Source, and with that, more people are awakening. And I have noticed it so much since 2021 hit. I mean, it was happening last year, but it's been happening for a while. But I feel like it's been a total change this year. I've noticed, I've seen it in other people, I've seen it in myself, like drastic changes. And it's just this really strong pull to following a calling. Like feel this really strong desire, like I need to figure out my soul purpose. And maybe things are looking differently. Like your job that you're in, you may have been just fine before, but all of a sudden you're like, this just doesn't fit with me anymore. I don't align with this. It's not bringing me happiness. Um, do you feel like, have you seen this in your own business? Like, have you seen your business increase? Like, are people coming to you saying, I don't feel like I fit in anymore. Like, I need to find my purpose. Um, do you see that right now?
Yes, and more importantly, I think I've always seen it.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, people did not have the words for it.
Right.
They may have said, like you just said, I don't fit in,
Mm-hmm.
or my neck hurts right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are many words that they have said, but they may not have had the words that state that I'm not doing my purpose. Some people that are aligned with themselves enough to know I'm not doing purposeful work, they say that, and they want
Mm-hmm.
to find purposeful work, or even a purposeful relationship because they're in the wrong place,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least.
Yeah.
Or they have or they're with the wrong friend group,
Mm-hmm.
or they think that they should have these friends. And in many cases, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for something bigger, something something that's them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what we all want. We all want to feel heard. We all want to fit. We all want to find purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Even teenagers, not that I've coached a teenager, but it's different when teenagers are just laying around doing nothing. They are laying around doing nothing because they have no purpose at
Right.
that point, right? If they have a reason to go to work to do something that they're interested in, then perhaps they'll get up. But if not, they're going to lay down and do nothing
Yep. Yep.
until they're showed differently. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also, my, think about this. If someone's interested in doing something, it's they're probably going to put more effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, for example, you're assigned a project at work that relates to building a computer program. You you typically hire someone to do work to do any type of computer programming for yourself at home, but why would you at work take charge of build a computer program
Mm-hmm.
if you're not interested in? Well, I think about this. If you are interested in a topic and you learn about it, you study it, you're probably going to get exponentially better at that topic. If you're already interested in it, already do it somewhat well, you're probably going to get exponentially better. Plus, it's something that's close to you and that's aligned to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, again, let's go with the computer programming thing for me.
Yeah. Totally me too.
If I know about computer programming, but I'm not interested in it, it doesn't matter how much I can learn it or what my aptitude is, I probably get better incrementally as opposed to exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that goes along with people searching for who they really are. That's important to know who you really are, to consider what your purpose is. And a lot of people say, find your passion, then you find your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Find your purpose, then you're passionate about it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's a big struggle. Like, so with people who come to you, and they say, I need help finding my soul purpose. I mean, do you feel like there's often like a spirituality piece that's missing, or maybe that's something they're seeking, or do you feel like that is really closely connected with your clients?
Yes. And as I mentioned earlier, that means that if they cannot answer the questions, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because those who are you questions are related to their values, their purpose, their mission,
Yeah.
their reason for being here on earth. If they cannot answer those questions, they're probably not aligned to who they really are. And knowing their values, their purpose, their mission, their vision for themselves and their, or again, their family or their coupledom, then that will set them on a path, essentially set them
Yep.
on a path to say, oh, okay. And that's an element of spirituality, knowing that, okay, this is who I am and this is my purpose for being on this universe.
Mm-hmm.
This is my uniqueness and this is how I bring myself. This is what I bring to any group. This is the value that I bring to my organization, my family, the group that I volunteer, all of those things. That's important. And that's an element of spirituality, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I know when I was coaching, and especially now too with my spiritual guides, like that is like the ultimate question, right? Like, and that's what everyone wants to know, which is a good thing. I'm so happy that people are exploring this. And as you and I both know, it's a lifelong journey. It's your learning, you're constantly figuring things out and learning to trust yourself and follow your inner guidance and
Mhm.
go down that path, because you can, deviate and go down other paths. It's just not going to be as easy for you. You'll learn all sorts of stuff. There's no right or wrong path.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
yeah, some are easier than others.
That, Allie, you just said a statement that people find it hard to believe. However, when they figure this out, they feel, wow, wow, wow. Do you know what that statement was that you said?
That there's no wrong path. Yeah. Yeah.
Some people don't believe that.
I know, because
Well, let
some
me
are
rephrase that.
harder.
Most
Yeah.
people don't believe
Yeah.
that. And that's one question that some people, they think, okay, tell me, which path should I take?
Yep. Yep. I get that question too. I'm like, you've got free will and choice. That's the beauty, right? But it's also hard. Like, you've been given this gift, but that means you've got to make choices, right? And so you can do, and I think too, like you were saying, like, I tell people too, like, when it comes to purpose, it's not just one path. I mean, there's like a general, pretty broad purpose that you probably have, and you get to choose
Mhm.
however you want to fulfill that. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Oh, and that's a good way to start the conversation because think about this. Somehow the generation, let's say the baby boomer generation, not to blame it on anyone, but
Yeah.
we all learn from our parents.
Hmm.
There is a thought that you're supposed to pick a path, pick a job, pick a job.
Yes.
And and people think, well, what do I do? What do I do? I have to be a nurse. There's, even if you say nurse, there is a broad spectrum of things that you can do within that realm.
Yeah.
And so opening up someone's vision, someone's up to the opportunities, that's the that's a task in itself, yes.
Hmm.
But it's helped so much, and it helps so much for everyone involved, so much, because the view is usually like this,
Right. Yes.
unfortunately.
Yeah. It's true. You're so right. Like, there's so much opportunity, which I know can be kind of overwhelming to some people. At the same time, people don't like to have a lot of choice. Like, they want to be, sometimes they want to be told what to do, right? Which goes
Yes,
back to the first part of, enlisting in a coach or a consultant.
exactly. And
Hmm.
which, okay, if you go to a consultant and they say, do this,
Yeah.
go back to them and you think, okay, that didn't work out. What do?
Yeah.
Sue
Yeah.
them?
Right. It's up to them
Right.
ultimately.
It's
They
your
have to
choice.
make the
You
choice.
got mad, but you can sue them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's such a good point. So, okay, we're talking about purpose and falling, fulfilling your calling. Let's talk, like, tell us your story. Like, what made you want to become a career and life coach? Like, was there a defining moment, or is it just something that kind of like a series of moments? Like, tell us what, if you had a spiritual awakening, or, how
Oh,
that process was for you.
good question. There's the short answer is
I know it's always like a big story.
it's a gradual process. The short answer is a gradual process. The long answer is, for me, I said it, I'll say it again, a lifelong learner. In accepting all of the learning opportunities that come to me for free or less than free, I take them all. At a former employer offered coaching, let me rephrase that, career counseling. And I would see those career counselors as much as as much as they were able to see me,
Yeah.
because I knew that what I was doing wasn't truly me,
Mhm.
right? I was misaligned, let's say. Not that I wasn't getting paid well at all. I got paid well. It's just that the work, like, I
Mhm.
mean, I could do whatever, any type of work. I have the aptitude to do many things.
Right.
Do I want to do many things? No. With that, those career counselors, they helped me to realize what I truly wanted to do. First of all, I realized what I did well.
Mhm.
And going through career counselors helped me know the words that I wanted to from day one. I guess I didn't know the words, but after going through career counseling, and at the same time, around about the same time, I had a mentor, and the mentor was telling me to do these things that she did. And then I thought, I don't want to do those things.
Mhm. Yeah.
In any case, I looked at what I wrote up for myself on my performance appraisals, and I saw that there was a trend.
Interesting.
And the trend was, of course, you're going to talk about the things that you're proud of, that you study, that make sense for you, that are aligned with who you are, right? Well, that's what I did. I
Yeah.
can't speak for everyone. In any case, then I looked back over my career in the military, in any other industry, and I thought what I really truly loved was the impact I had on other people. And that impact is what I associated with coaching. First of all, I associated with counseling, but then I thought, what element could I do that's not counseling? And it was
Right.
coaching,
Mhm.
right? And then looking at all the qualities of a coach, active listening was number one. And the feedback that I've gotten from many people that I have talked to have told me and others that listening is one of my strong points.
Mhm.
And listening intuitively is one of my strong points.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes or comments or most important feedback moments was, or not was, is from my mother, which is very interesting. She said one day, and I don't even think she remembers saying it. She said, I like talking to you. I learn something every time I talk to you. And I thought,
Oh,
oh, Mama,
that's
that's so sweet.
amazing. Yeah.
When I think about that, I think about several people that I've talked to have said that they learn something every time they talk to me. And I thought, well, in bringing all those things together, yes, coaching is the perfect fit, because let's think about, trauma is not something that I want to talk about.
Mhm.
I am a self-professed champion of positivity. So I would want to
Yes.
talk about something that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something, for lack of a better word, positive. So
Uh-huh.
coaching is a perfect fit for me.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yes, I see that 100%. Like I mean, I kind of go to you for coaching. I'm like, when I need some coaching, I go to Lametra. But that's amazing. Like I love that you just kept following your heart and you were listening to that inner voice that's telling you
Mhm.
and following your strengths, right? Because like you said, like, and that's an interesting point too. I wonder if you get that a lot. Like you can be really good at something but not like it or not be super happy, right? Like you said, we have aptitude. We're probably great at a lot of things, but what really, really lights your fire? Like what gets you
Exactly.
going? Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
I just want to, unfortunately, yeah, I want to stress this a lot.
Yeah.
In corporate America, it's not as much right now in 2021, but in corporate America, I used to hear, okay, where do you want to go? And let's see where your gaps are.
Yep. Yep.
And I when a client say, okay, I want to see what I'm doing wrong. I want to see my weaknesses.
Yep.
And I tell them I am the wrong coach for you because I'm not going to stress any weaknesses.
Right. Yeah. Like
I'm
work
not
on
going
that with the therapist, maybe, right? Like we're gonna talk about your amazing strengths
We're
here.
going to talk about how amazing you are.
Yes.
It's different. I understand there are some things that everyone needs to do
Yeah.
somewhat well. Speak to talk about themselves, right? At the
Right.
minimum, everyone should be able to communicate at a minimum,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
verbally, and they should be able to write somewhat well. Those two
Mm-hmm.
qualities, yes. But all of these, oh, let's dwell on my gaps.
Yep.
That is my pet peeve
Mm-hmm.
so much.
Oh my gosh. And they always ask that in interviews. Like, what's your greatest weakness? I'm like, why do you want to dwell? Because that's what they're going to hear. It's like there, and then plus people just make up something anyway. Like why? I don't want to see that part. Like, we all have our areas of challenge or whatever, but like that's not the point. Like what can you bring to the table? Like what are your
Exactly.
amazing soul gifts that you have here in this earth? How can we work with those? Like yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I, my phrase is if you want to talk about your quote, let's do this, air quotes,
Yeah.
weaknesses,
Right. Oh.
I am not the coach for you. I am
I
not
know.
the coach for you.
Oh God, no, no. I'm so like that too. I love positivity, and there's positive psychology, and
Mhm.
even like counselors that's their model that they go by, and you're right. I mean, there's a place for everything, right? But yeah, like coaching is so positive and uplifting, and like I love that you just focus on strengths. That's awesome. So, what would you say? You kind of touched on this a little, but what would you say is like, what do you love most about being a career life coach?
There are several pieces to that I love. I love that the clients, which I call leaders, achievers, that each individual discovers something about themselves or rediscovers something about themselves each meeting. That's what I love.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's one of the things I value because as I mentioned, learning is important to me. And learning about yourself is the ultimate learning. What
Oh,
you
yeah.
do with that in a career focus could be you realign your career to your values, or you structure your resume, your interview answers in ways that show your strengths, your skills, your interests, and what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Learning about yourself will help you do that.
Right.
And about me personally, no, it's all about the clients.
Yeah.
All about the clients in helping individuals accomplish their goals.
Yeah.
That's what I love about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the clients. Each session is about what the individual wants to achieve. It's not about me at all.
Yeah.
Never. And again, it's never a pre-designed coaching session. For
Right.
example, if we even if we schedule to talk about an assessment that they completed, if that's not what they want to talk about that day, that's not what we're going to focus on.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's so amazing to see the transformation, like, working with someone from the beginning to the end, and you're like, wow, like you see the confidence growing.
And
And
that's the word.
yes, because, I think a lot of people come to you probably feeling kind of low, right? They don't feel confident with themselves. They may have low self-worth, um, for a variety of reasons, but you're helping them to see all those amazing things inside of them and see how many accomplishments that they have done. Like, I think that's one thing that we all tend to forget, is to like look back and see how far we've come, like, man, like, it's like there's been a lot going on just externally, but then in your own lives, and you just tend to forget that. You're like, oh,
Exactly.
okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm strong. I can do it, right?
That's a good point that you've made. There are several times, even with individuals that I team up with, again, I'm collaborative in several different ways. One group that I'm a member of, to the group leader, let's say leader, I mentioned to him, write down all the things that you have accomplished thus far. And then my question to him was, what will that do for you when you see all these things, right?
Yeah.
See all those accomplishments. Because again, you're doing things, you're checking off tasks. We're
Hmm.
task driven for the most part. The value of those tasks is something that we need to stop. We as adults definitely stop and reflect on. What did I accomplish and what value did that bring to my overall goal? And then
Yeah.
you can pat yourself on the back. That'll
Exactly.
relieve that little knot there. Those
Yeah, there
pats.
you go. There you go. It totally will. You're like, oh yeah, dust that
Yes.
off. Yeah.
Do you, Ellie, do it for yourself? Do you reflect back on the year or the month to see, oh, I've accomplished a lot this month?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, that was one thing that when I did a meditation and I connected with my true self, my soul, and my spirit guides, of course. And that was one thing that they, mentioned was, you need to like, be proud of how far you've come. Of course, spirit only sees you as like perfect, right? So, like,
Because
that
you
was,
are.
yeah, exactly. We all are. And that was the message I got from my true self was, don't forget to remember how far you've come and how much work you've put in and how much you've overcome and just where you are. And I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that. So, um, I know that's some truth right there. And I think that's such a good reminder for everybody to do that. And I actually have a little sticky note on my computer that reminds me of that. So when I
Mhm.
feel like I'm like failing or, that's all ego stuff, of course, but, and not doing well or struggling, like that's such a good reminder. Like, okay, I have come so far. Like, let's remember that, like big picture. Let's put it in a big, higher purpose perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great reminder.
Oh, take stock of what you've accomplished.
Mhm.
And we need to say that to everyone that's a client or even potential client. More importantly, ourselves.
Yes, yes,
I,
absolutely.
ideally, I make a point to check, excuse me, not to check, but to reflect on the year or even the month.
Hmm.
excuse me, just year of the month to even see the accomplishments, not to necessarily pat myself on the back, just to say, oh, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
I got this.
Exactly. Exactly. You go stronger and stronger with every experience, and you're like, oh no, I can handle this. I've
Which,
been through this, XYZ. So,
and that brings me to a point that something that you said earlier, the word confidence.
mhm.
Confidence is something that at the end of the coaching engagement, I haven't actually measured confidence level of anyone or any people, but I believe that the confidence level has increased
Oh yeah.
because of several different things, like you said, or what, like we've talked about, focusing on not necessarily achievements, but all of who they are.
Yeah. Celebrating them.
Mhm.
Just being like just being in comfortable in your own skin and celebrating just who you are right in that moment. Like because
Mhm.
you're right, we're perfect, and I think there's so much negative self-talk and self-chatter that we do that we don't even realize, and it's constant. So it's such a positive, uplifting experience to just be accepted for who you are and loved for who you are and cherish yourself.
That reminds me of a word that I've seen a couple of times. It's a cute word, a word that's a blend of two different words, flossom. We're all
Awesome.
we're all uniquely flawed, but still awesome anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is so cool. Awesome. I think did you post on that on your LinkedIn? I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like I saw that and I thought that was really cool when I saw that. I love that. You're so right. And I mean, and of course, if you come from a spiritual perspective, it's not considered a flaw, right?
No, it's not. I'm saying that for
Yeah.
societal purposes.
Oh, I know. I know. Because
But
you're right.
we, the way I would say it for those that are truly aligned and know spiritually who they are, we're all perfectly, uniquely awesome.
Yes. Yes.
We're perfectly,
Exactly.
uniquely made. The universe made us all perfectly, uniquely awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And we go through experiences that we were, I from a spiritual perspective, I feel like we've chosen some things to go through to learn the lessons from that. So it's again, this is where like forgiveness, self-forgiveness is really big and something.
Self-compassion. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Because you're right, we are all flawed. We've all made mistakes. We've all done things maybe we weren't proud of or would go back and change. But the reality is that's part of who you are. It's shaped who you are. You've learned from it, hopefully, right? Like that's the goal. As long as you learn from it and don't do it again, then you've learned and you've mastered that. And that's a huge part of um, growing and
Yeah.
advancing.
Growth. Growth.
Yes. Yes. So, Lamisha, what would you say is just one piece of advice that you can give our listeners who are struggling to find their soul purpose?
Hmm. Well, we've kind of already given us several pieces of
Yeah,
advice.
that's true. What is like the one thing like just that comes to mind immediately? Like
Mm,
the first, like the foundation piece, like you got to know this first.
you can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
There are no mistakes.
Mm, such a good point.
There are no mistakes, which I go back to something I said a few minutes ago, just to follow up on that.
Hmm.
We're all perfectly, uniquely made. There are no mistakes.
Yeah,
We are not mistakes.
exactly.
There are no mistakes. And you can't
Yeah.
you can't make a mistake. Everything that we do, and we just to step a little further from that,
Hmm.
we're either learning, growing, or developing from it.
Hmm. Absolutely. It's such a great, I mean, that's a huge piece. I think that's healing in and of itself. Just being able to accept your past and learn from it and move on, right? Like you said, like okay, we can learn from the past, but let's figure out like where are you right now? Where do you want to go in the future?
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Exactly. Dwelling in the past. Well, more important than that, not even dwelling in the past. Where do we live, right?
Hmm.
Where do we live?
Yeah.
In the present.
Yeah.
We don't live in the past. We don't live in the future. If you're doing either of those two things, living in the past or thinking about the future,
Hmm.
you are not living in the present.
Right.
And being present is a whole nother level of stress reduction.
Yes. So true.
For those people that are at truly at level 7, what is what it is right now. And that's all
Right.
there is.
Yeah.
Not to
And
say that you don't plan, it's just that you're not dwelling on the past
yeah.
or, oh, when I do this, when I do this, when I do this,
Right.
when I get this.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I've definitely learned, especially, gosh, with the past, year, things change very quickly.
Mhm.
So you can't get hung up on future. Like you can, like you said, plan and have goals, but you've got to be flexible to change. And that's something I have learned and I'm going through right now. Like even with my own business, like it's okay to change course, and because the energies are changing and, things are different. So you have to realign with those energies.
Oh, definitely. I just a snippet of someone's conversation that I heard 4 years ago. She mentioned about her business cards. This coach mentioned, I've changed my business cards 3 times over the last blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I thought, hmm, that again, I intuitively thought or knew that that means that things change, businesses change, not necessarily your processes, your approach,
Hmm.
your methods could be a rebranding. Things change.
Right. Absolutely. Companies
It's
do it all the
okay.
time. Hmm.
Okay. It's all fine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all part of your journey.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that's the piece that hit home for me was, you know what, I'm doing it my way. Like it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Like this is for me. This is my world and what's going on with me. So I have to change it. And I don't really care what other people think. Not that I don't care, but you know what I mean? Like I have to focus my business according to me and what, is my true self and what I'm being led to do versus going externally to see what everyone else is doing, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Which goes back to what I said about people who state, oh, you're a coach. You got to do this.
Yep.
You got to do this. Because I did this and I was successful. And again, it doesn't
Yes.
mean because you're successful that everyone else can take that same approach.
Right.
And yeah, you have to do it your way. Your way
Yeah.
is your way. You're an individual. You're unique in your thoughts and belief. And those who are attracted to you will be attracted to you because of you.
Right.
Which
Exactly.
it's interesting that someone asked me a couple of months ago, why do I have those certifications? And she said, because if I was looking for a coach, I would come to you because of you. I'm attracted to you and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you're right. You're right. The people that come to me are attracted to me or because of some connection. My necklace, my earrings, it could be the color I have on,
Yeah.
whatever reason, or something that I said. However, for me, those certifications provide legitimacy,
Hmm.
but validity, accuracies,
Yep.
some standard. In the future, I'll have a certification through the International Coaching Federation.
Hmm.
because it provides a level of legitimacy. Because nowadays, anyone can say I'm a coach, and they have a program, like I said,
Yep,
in
yep.
which they've said a couple of things. Now they have 1,000 followers, and people pay them for this,
Mhm,
and they say that they're a coach.
mhm,
However, with the certifications, it provides another level of, like I said, reliability, validity,
yeah, yeah.
legitimacy, and more importantly, if I'm working with an organization,
Mhm,
and some organizations like to have the certifications after your name, that provides what they require.
mhm,
However, all of that said, I will also state that all of that learning was for me.
right.
That's something, because the more I learn about something I'm interested in, the better it is for me and everyone
Yeah.
else involved.
Right, absolutely. And it's a framework, right? That you can take and then make your own based on your experiences, your intuition, what you've learned from your clients. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's like, yes, okay, you've got that, you've got the foundation, you have the credibility, right? And it shows people like you're serious about this. Like you take the time to learn because you want to be the best coach that you can be for people. And you've taken some really cool, different certifications. And I mean, I would want that in a coach. I'd want somebody who loves learning and who's constantly learning because I'm the same way. I love that. And you're keeping up to date with
Yeah,
modern, because this energy certification, for example, like that's super progressive and that's where we are in this day and age. And that would be attractive to me. I'd be like, oh yeah, she's like on top of it, like it's the holistic view. Um, yes, she gets it.
yeah. And holistic view is the word that I had 10 years ago, even before I knew what coaching was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's part of who I am, in that people are not just an accountant.
Hmm.
They are more than just their role or title. So yes, a holistic view is the most important concept of anything. Even people want to bring their whole selves when they go wherever they are, not just their title. Authenticity is important, because without it, is, again, you have the knot in the back
Hmm.
because you're living a lie almost.
Yeah. It's a burden that you're carrying for sure.
Literally in some cases.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. So, Lamitra, tell us about your programs or services that you offer.
Okay, right now, there are three different, we can call them programs,
Hmm.
but three different levels of coaching.
Okay.
And it's a number of sessions, 12 sessions, 15 sessions, or 18 sessions. All studies show that in order to change, grow, or learn, there has to be a consistent number of interactions, let's say,
Hmm.
so that you are hearing what you need to hear that guide you on your way to your goal.
Right.
And at the minimum, on average, 15 sessions is the ideal that most clients select.
Okay.
In the future, I will have some intensives, meaning that one-on-one Saturday for 8 hour sessions with individuals, if they choose to select that VIP intensive.
Hmm.
Also in the future, there are going to be more workshops. Again, I think I may have mentioned I'm working with a group of veterans who are putting together a program, and I will do the professional development component for that. Also in the future, I'm thinking about incorporating a workshop for women, 10 disciplines of a strong woman.
Mm, I love that.
And That will be posted on my website when that happens.
Okay, awesome.
Those workshops would probably be 1 hour workshops each
Mhm.
with activities and reflections and
Mhm.
exercises. Again, not this,
Yeah.
but exercises to make you think.
Right, right. Awesome. And so with your programs, is it you do you usually meet like once a week for sessions, or how long are your sessions? What does that look like?
Oh, good question. Each engagement with the client is different. In
Mhm.
some cases, individuals want weekly sessions. Other individuals may want bi-weekly sessions. Many, well, there's about half that want bi-weekly sessions, the other half that want weekly sessions.
Mhm.
But with that said, each client and I have our own agreement.
Mhm. Yeah.
Each agreement is different. We could state that we meet on Fridays 1 week, and the next time we meet would be on Saturday mornings, and vice versa.
Mhm.
I'm open to all discussions as
Mhm.
long as they fit my schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
A mutually beneficial schedule, let's
Yes,
call it.
yes. And so now, are you just doing Zoom virtual sessions with people, or?
And that's a good question. 90% or more of my sessions are phone only,
Okay.
and which is ideal because it's, as far as concentration, you only hear someone
Mhm.
and that's it. You don't have to worry about what you're looking like.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great point.
The focus is only on the voice, and
Mhm.
as far as the individual is concerned, their focus is on their thoughts, beliefs, and any resulting actions.
Mhm. Absolutely. That's a great point. I love that. I do some sessions only by phone too, because then it's just I close my eyes for some of them. So I'm like, there's really no point in doing like a Zoom session. Okay,
I agree.
so yeah. Okay, so what would be the process for working with you? So would they first reach out and set up, you said you have an introductory call, and then how would it work from there?
Yes, the first conversation is the discovery session. Essentially, it's a consultation, and it's not necessarily, let me rephrase that. It's not a consultation. It's a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
That during that conversation, I'm asking some questions, you ask some questions. Essentially, it's a get to know you session. We
Mhm.
have to be a good fit. As mentioned earlier, coaching is relationship based.
Right.
And if you don't like to laugh, you're not going to be a good client. That's just putting that out there.
Yeah.
If, well, again, since it's a relationship based, you have to like the coach, and the coach needs to feel that it's an appropriate client for them.
Right.
If not, then I would provide potential coaches or
Mhm.
another resource for the individual. It has to be a good fit.
Right.
It could be the first conversation we figure that out. Maybe not. It could be the second conversation. So the first conversation is usually about an hour.
Okay.
And I say that's the average. Sometimes it's been an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Some people are very reflective during conversations, and I'm a good listener.
Mhm.
After the discovery session, then the next conversation would be, if there's a conversation at all, again, if we agree it's a good fit, then the next conversation will be a conversation about the program and the program specifically for that person,
Right.
the number of sessions and the frequency of those discussions,
Mhm.
meetings.
Mhm.
The third session will typically be the results of the Energy Leadership Index
All right. Love it.
for the
Just right off the
program,
bat. Yeah.
as well as other assessments that are related to the individual's goals.
Mhm. Awesome. Sounds perfect. I love that. And so you touched on this a little bit. So you gotta have a sense of humor, at least be open-minded, right? But what are some other, like, what would you say an ideal client would be?
Oh, an ideal client is someone who wants to truly do the work,
Mm-hmm.
which means when there are, now let's call them assignments,
Mm-hmm.
that they truly do those assignments because those assignments are not for me.
Right.
They're for
Yeah.
those assignments are for the individual.
Right.
That work involves reflection, introspection, and again, either discovery or in many cases, it's rediscovery.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, like you've mentioned that before, we're just doing stuff, checking tasks off, just doing things. Taking the time to think about these topics
Mm-hmm.
is beneficial in so many ways. Career, personal, emotional, all those ways that we can think about, all the things that influence who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it has to be someone who truly wants to do the work because if you want to do the work, you'll make time to do the work.
Right. You'll be committed.
Committed because that commitment is for yourself and for your
Exactly.
change. It's not, again, it's not for me.
Yeah. You're just here to facilitate that. Like, that's what's so cool at the end too, when you're like, you did all the work, like you got to this amazing place. And but yes, it's you're you're committed to putting in the hours and time and effort to do this process.
That's the main quality that someone needs to come into the relationship with.
Right.
Everything else is gravy on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so if someone is interested in working with you, how would you recommend that they reach out to you?
Any number of ways.
Yeah.
They can call 972-423-9542 and
Okay.
leave a message, or they can contact me on by email or by
Okay.
my website, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
or by LinkedIn or Instagram. And Lametra Off Coaching is also another way they can reach me. LametraOff
Okay.
Coaching.
Awesome. Awesome.
Any number of ways. On the landing page on my website, there's a way to connect with me as
Okay.
far as emails or asking a question or just say, hey, if you want to know where I got this necklace,
Yeah.
any questions, there
Okay,
are
you
no questions
guys,
off limit.
if you're just listening, you've got to maybe watch the YouTube because Lamitra's necklace is so beautiful. Like I keep looking at it. It's like colorful and beaded. It's gorgeous. I think you should let us all know where you got it. And then you're like this beautiful like sea green shirt that is a beautiful color on you. Okay, wonderful. So again, you can reach Lamitra by visiting her website, which is lbocareercoaching.com. And I will include all of Lamitra's information in this episode description, both in the podcast platforms as well as the YouTube description. Now, Lamitra has offered a special code just for podcast listeners and watchers. And so if you set up a call with her, be sure to mention the code, which is Spirituality Simplified. And so once you mention that, you will get a 10% discount on whichever program that you choose. So that is super cool and generous. Thank you, Lermitra, for that. Again, I will include that in the episode description as well. And Lemitra, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was so much fun. I love talking to you, and you have a beautiful energy. And I know my listeners and the podcast watchers, they're just going to really connect with you. I feel like this was so informative and just really inspiring during this time of craziness and change. Like this was it feels good to know that you are here. So thank you for everything you do, all of your service, shining your light. Thank you so much. And again, thanks for everyone who's tuning in today. And remember to keep it spiritual, but keep it simple. Thanks, guys. See you next time.